welcome back to another episode here. We're doing another reaction video. This time another YouTuber that is reviewing the PlayStation 5 controller. Now, I would watch one about the Xbox controller, but there, to be honest, it isn't much of a big difference. And to be honest, I don't know much about the PS5 controller. So, we're gonna check out Marques Brownlee video about the PS5 controller review here. I guess we can jump back in. I may stop a few times to let my opinion or whatever, but it'd be pretty interesting to see how exactly it is on hands-on, which is exactly what he has here.
Hey, what's up? MKBHD here. So, hear me out. PS5's controller, this guy right here, might be the best part of the PS5, but maybe an even hotter take is this might be the most next-gen thing about any of the upcoming next-gen consoles. It's important. Like, of course, the graphics are going to get better, and the games will look better, but the controller evolving, maybe that's a hot take, but I think this is pretty important. So, both major consoles, Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, right around the corner.
I think that's one thing. The whole, I will admit this for PlayStation users, I don't hate it. One thing I do like about it is the controller, especially the PS5 one. It does look a lot more better. I'm sure it is, overall better performance than a regular Xbox controller. It's just, I personally think the Xbox controller is more bland, and I do like the design of the PS5 controller. I just really wish Xbox would have stepped up the game or something a little bit more different with the Xbox Series X, but nope.
As you know, and I'm testing them both, it's a lot of hard work, playing a lot of games between the two of them, of course. But I wanted to take a minute before the reviews of them to talk about controllers. So a lot of you have seen the PS5 unboxing, so you've seen that new controller, and this is it. And I didn't unbox the Xbox Series X and S on camera, but I've shown it several times already, and these are the Xbox controllers. The Series X comes with a black controller, matte black everything actually, and the Series S comes with a matte white controller. But it's the same thing roughly. It's not super new, and we've seen the shape before. There's some subtle improvements I like though. USB Type-C, and there's a dot pattern on the back of the shoulders that's really nice now. But the PS5's new controller is different. It's built different. I don't know how many people are actually shopping between PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Like, to be honest, I think most people already know which one they want, and they're just seeing how they can get their hands on them, pre-orders, that whole dance. But if you are still undecided, maybe the controller is that differentiating factor. So, okay, why am I making this whole video? Why is the controller so different? Well, I already showed you the fundamental new thing, the new beefier design, the new lights, the new USB Type-C, and the pins at the bottom for the dock, and even that crazy detailed texture. That's all fine. But also, this controller, when it turns on, has a feel that makes you feel more connected to the game and the console. I mean, it's a controller, so it's the one thing that you can actually say, maybe more than the screen, actually connects you to the game. So, two things about it. First, the new haptics are very strong. There's a new haptic motor inside this. Think like the difference between a new phone, the newest iPhone's haptic motor, and like an old, sloppy, traditional vibration motor. That precision to it. And then the other thing is the adaptive triggers. So I mentioned in the unboxing, when you just kind of squeeze the triggers when the controller's off, they feel normal. But when the controller's on, they have an adaptive level of resistance of when you actually pull them down. And the level of resistance can get pretty high, and you really have to squeeze the triggers, and they respond based on what's happening on the screen and in the game. So those...
I don't know how I feel about that part. I mean, that part right there may affect how you're gaming, especially if you're playing Call of Duty or something. That could affect, exactly how you play or whatever. If you got to squeeze it down or to shoot, or not as likely shooting, but I guess now I think about it, it might not affect it as much.
Those two things are a feel that is a major step up. So together they make up the DualSense controller. And then to demo it, Sony actually made a game, it's called Astro's Playroom, to show it off. And it has exaggerated levels of haptics and adaptive triggers all throughout the game. And they combine with the speaker and the controller to really feel super engaging all the time. I was going to say immersive, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's just engaging the whole time. So in this game, you basically control Astro and go through this world. This is one stage called Cooling Springs, and literally everything you touch feels different through the controller. The character walking around on glass, you feel the footsteps. It feels and sounds one way, but even without the sound, it just feels noticeably different than walking on metal, or walking through water, or on sand. And that feel is all translated by the haptic motor that moves the controller with every footstep really precisely. It's pretty great. With hitting things, the impact is different for different materials, so of course there's going to be a lot of different things to hit all over this game constantly to feel all of that happen. Coins hitting you feels different from hitting a leaf, feels different from hitting an enemy. And then for the adaptive triggers, they tie it to this feeling of a spring in the game. So you're using the triggers on the back of the controller to squeeze down a spring. And the added resistance plus the haptic vibration all kind of feel exactly how it would feel if you were trying to squeeze and compress a real-life spring. It is a very convincing combination of haptics. And they use this feeling for other things too, like the stretching of rope when you pull on ropes in the game, which again happens a lot. But yeah, it's clearly it's a tailor-made experience around all the strengths of the new controller. So of course there's entire levels and places that are just around the feel of your environment and the haptics through the controller in your hands, but it is a really good demo. And so when I demo this, I'm using this new controller, I'm reminded of how whenever I use a new phone with a really good haptic motor, I appreciate it way more and it feels newer and more next gen than phones from a couple years ago or even this year with bad vibration motors. They feel worse. And you never really unnotice that. It also reminds me of the MacBook Pro's trackpad, the new trackpad, where the Force Touch, you would swear the glass is moving, but it's not. It just has a really good high-quality haptic motor right behind it that feels like a very convincing real click. And that's in a much smaller space than this controller, where they can fit much bigger haptic motors. So there's a lot going on in here. So Sony published a teardown of the PlayStation 5, and it was pretty cool, and a lot of people watched it. It was very detailed. But what I want to see now is what the inside of the controller looks like. And some people are already doing that. I think Austin did a video on the internet of looking at how big these haptic motors are. So of course I can't tear this one apart because it's a review unit, but I feel like we're going to see a lot more of that very soon. It's just when you have more space, you can do more with haptics, and that to me feels much more next gen and noticeable. And I also want to point you to this Dave2D video. He made a really good video just with a really good animation / illustration of what the triggers and the motor behind them may look like, how they add resistance to the squeezing the triggers. Dave, I hope you don't mind me using this, but it's really good, and I think here you can visualize now better how they use the motors to make the triggers harder to squeeze. But definitely check out, just watch Dave's entire video. I'll link it below. We share a lot of the same thoughts on this controller, but watch the rest of his entire video as well. So,
okay. I think the whole thing that he just mentioned about the whole feedback and everything you get from a game, the footsteps, hitting stuff or getting hit, I think that actually is pretty cool. I highly doubt that Xbox will have the same feature with the Xbox controller. It just doesn't seem like it. They never mentioned it. But PlayStation did. They said they have a next gen level haptic feedback with this controller. That basically is like an iPhone. You know, you get those vibrations or feedback from your iPhone. Basically, get that from the controller, which is pretty cool. And it does feel, I'm pretty sure it is good in gaming and stuff. You know, more alive. Makes the game more alive. I'm pretty sure. And I just really wish the Xbox would have took the extra steps to make their controller more involved inside the gameplay instead of making the console just make the game come to life. Basically, they could have made the controller come to life as well, but one step at a time, I guess. I don't know, we'll see about next year console if they even improve.
So better haptics, better feel in the thing you're actually holding that connects you more physically to the game than the actual graphics. When you think about it, it's kind of a no-brainer. But I think now the question, now that we have this pretty good controller, is what other games are going to actually take advantage of it? So Sony built Astro's World, cool demo, but what other games are actually going to use these impressive, physical achievements inside the controller? The first thing that comes to mind for me is shooting games, right? Having the squeezing the trigger and having the resistance of actually squeezing the trigger might feel different for different guns. That I could definitely see happening. But then, the gears start to turn a little bit. What about driving games? There's a lot of those, and something to notice anytime you play a good driving game with a good wheel, the wheel has really high quality haptics and vibration motor, so when you drive over different surfaces, it feels different in the wheel. The vibration of the car, you feel it in the wheel. That can be done better with better quality haptics through this controller. So I can see that happening. But then there's all kinds of adventure games like the Spider-Man game. There's sports games, of course. I play a lot of 2K, so I imagine feeling the basketball dribbling through the controller. And there's actually moments where you're shooting a free throw and you feel the heartbeat of your player through the controller. That stuff will be amplified and feel more convincing on this new controller. So there's a lot of possibilities, and I'm hoping that PS5 game developers are as amped about this as I am. That would be really exciting. So that's it for now. Short video just to get the gears turning and think about this a little bit, but let me know what you think.
Okay. He made a point there about the whole driving and everything, but the thing is, I personally think that Xbox has better driving games such as Forza, Horizon, all those gameplays and stuff. I personally think they have better games than what PlayStation has, because Forza is exclusive only on Xbox, and with having a controller like that on Forza will make it a lot better. Having the feedback when you drive over bumps or when you're drifting, you can feel it through the controller. I think that would be pretty lit to actually have, and I'm pretty sure this will be pretty cool. Inside Call of Duty Cold War, I highly doubt they're gonna make this fit for Modern Warfare, because they had to change the whole game. Well, kinda, but they most definitely will tweak it for the Cold War, I'm pretty sure, for Call of Duty, and it will be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it will be pretty cool, but I just don't think that the controller is winning me over as far as getting one over the Xbox. Like I said, like the more better performance, and I just been using Xbox all my life. I'm not saying that PlayStation is bad, but just prefer Xbox. But it'll be pretty cool if there's some way that can hook up a PlayStation 5 controller to an Xbox Series X one day. Maybe. Gotta search that up, gotta do my research. Hopefully there is some type of way, because I most definitely would prefer this controller over a regular Xbox Series X controller. There's overall better design, better features inside of it. It's not just like a plain controller that can make you move around inside of a game. It's actually something that can make you more involved inside the gameplay, inside of the console itself. And I think PlayStation knocked it out of the park with this controller. The console itself is a completely different story with both of them. And it's just my opinions is making me winning over towards the Xbox as far as the console. But PlayStation most definitely has the better controller over all of them, to be honest, especially with this one. But I'd be curious to know what you guys like or would prefer. Do you like the basic vibrations from Xbox Series X, or would you like the PlayStation 5 controller, which makes you more involved and basically feel everything inside of the game? Now, that can be either a win or a bad thing. Call of Duty, it's a bad thing for me. I don't like feeling vibrations off. To me, I can aim better and move a lot more better without vibrations. But in a game like Forza, this would be amazing to have. But I'll be curious to know what you guys would prefer, this or the Xbox Series X controller. But besides that, like the video, of course share with all your friends, and subscribe. Let's get this channel growing and everything one day by day. Until then, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.